Hi everyone, my name is Saket. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Design Podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting one of the very talented designers I have come across. His name is Mr. Ashay Bhave. He is the founder of Thaely. So in 2019 as a student, he noticed that more than 100 billion plastic bags are used almost every single year, and it was raising serious environmental concerns. Looking at this, he decided to spend next few years. He ended up designing and developing this innovative leather-like fabric, which he called THAELY-Tex. This created a foundation for his company Thaely. Since then, they are converting these ugly-looking plastic bags into beautiful-looking, very well-designed, sustainable shoes. Their sustainable movement has generated several recognitions, including PETA's Best Vegan Sneaker Design Award, Forbes 30 Under 30. Now, these things are very inspiring. But what blows my mind is that he is very young. He is just 26-year old. And I'm very curious to understand how he was able to achieve all of this at such a young age. So, we are going to dive deep into his journey. We are going to decode how he was able to manage everything at such a young age. So be prepared to be mind blown because we are about to start one of the best design podcasts on this show. Please tell me, how did it all start?
So it started in 2019. I just finished. Actually, I didn't finish. I dropped out of my accessory design course that I was doing in New York. And around the time I moved to New York. My family had moved to Dubai,
Okay.
and so I moved to Dubai back with them. And I thought, okay, I need to do a business degree. I don't know. I was just like, something about that whole experience in New York, even though I love New York and I love design, but like it just discouraged me because I noticed that a lot of people I knew who had finished the college, or like, alumni that I'd met, they weren't really doing anything to do with design or like their chosen field.
Wow.
So, because like a lot of the like design jobs have moved away from America,
Hmm.
and they move to India or China, or like, they're getting outsourced to where things are actually made. And uh, apart from New Balance, I don't think there's any sneaker company that makes anything in America.
Hmm.
So anyway, so I moved to Dubai, and I thought, okay, I need to get into the business side of things.
Before we go there,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but can you tell me more about the design industry over there? So you studied accessory design over
Yeah.
there, right? So how was your experience? How was it different from Indian scenario? What you have observed before?
So honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with design schools in India. I did prepare for IIT's design school and NID. Like I went to those coaching institutes also, like a lot of people do. But I remember there was this like UCID exam, right?
Right.
For IIT. And I remember like the questions about design were very few. Like it was mostly just like random stuff. Anyways, I'm digressing. But the thing about my college in New York, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology. So one, it is, I think, top 5 when it comes to like fashion schools in the world,
Mhm.
and specifically for accessory design, which is footwear, bags, and hats. It's like the best one that you can go to. Apart from that, they had a big focus on actually being in the studio and like making things physically. Like, not, we did very little sketching.
Okay. Wow, that's very
Yeah, like they
difficult
expect
yeah.
you to know that already.
So they are more hands-on.
They
not
Yeah,
like
because
just
they
sketching,
wanted
sketching.
you see, because like in my opinion, sketching a shoe is not that difficult. Not anybody, but if you're into shoes, if you can sketch decently well, you can design shoes. But to actually like design them well, you need to know how they're made and what goes into making them. The construction of the shoe, that is very important, and I'm grateful that I was able to learn that
Okay.
in FIT. um so yeah, like I think the first year I was there, I was only there for a year, but all our exams, apart from like one course, all our exams were about like making a making a shoe or making a bag or making, you know, like this
Hmm.
textile technique, like, you know, because we were able to learn a lot of things. I also learned how to do screen printing for
Oh.
t-shirts and all of that. The only course that was like a written exam was like the human anatomy course that we have for feet, basically, which was very important again.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was great. It was very hands on. And you know, like New York is such a place that you just like come across like crazy stuff every day, and like there's just like wild experiences that you can't probably have anywhere else in the world.
Hmm.
So it was great for that. Also, like just the amount of design history over there, like the Museum of Modern Art, and like even FIT has their own you know, fashion museum, which has some very cool pieces. You know, we were able to see bags and shoes that are like
Hmm.
200 years old, 300 years old. We were able to see how they were made. They took us to see how the materials are made, like, you know, like how leather is made, how
Hmm.
fur is made, and that probably put me off from, you know, from making like you know, leather shoes, or you know, shoes made from animal
Uh,
derived products.
that's actually a very disturbing
Yeah,
sight to
like
see, you know.
people don't know this, but when raw leather comes to the you know, whatever, the shoe factory or whatever, or even for that matter, the parts of it that are like, that look distinctly like they were on an animal are still attached, like,
So you can see blood and things like
no,
that.
not blood, but like it's very processed obviously, but like let's say there's fur, so you will see noses,
Ah.
okay, like snouts, you'll see ears attached on the thing. With leather you'll see
Hmm.
like nipples, or like uh you know,
Oh,
tails, things like that. So it's very difficult to like distance yourself from that, and you know, it feels bad, I guess. Yeah.
okay. So I think one beautiful thing happened when you are outside India. When you are staying in India, of course, you are exposed to the things which are going
Yeah.
around here. But I think outside India, especially in US or Europe, the design awareness is so much that, you know, they have been giving importance to design for a very long time, and those kind of things will be seen over there. So exposure is, I think, one
Yeah,
definitely
exposure.
a big plus when you study in such college. And secondly, I like the way you mentioned that the education uh, structure was focused more on the hands-on experiences
Yeah.
and creating things,
Yeah.
not just sketching it, or, you know, because I think that is one of the major issues I see with current student generation,
Yeah.
that they have got these, you know, easy to use softwares like
Yeah.
Photoshop, Blender. They can
Yeah.
just photo bash things and they create things which look attractive.
Or AI now.
How
Yeah.
AI now, yeah, yeah. So everything, like something which is very attractive, which can, you know, catch eyeballs, it's very easy to do, I
Yeah.
guess. But then manufacturing or building things which will perform in the real world, I think that is the main task of a
Yeah.
designer, and I'm very happy that somebody is focusing on that. So when you were going through this, so I think one point was very clear that you didn't want to get into a leather industry where, you know, there is animal cruelty or things like that involved. So how did you move to Theli then? Like, what was that tipping point?
Uh, so then I was in, after this, after a year of design college, I moved to Dubai, and I was doing a business degree. And, you know, I was like, okay, I need, you know, I'm doing this course, but I need a job that is somewhat creative. Like it can't be a bank job or like, you know, something like that. So I was like, okay, let's work on personal design projects, right?
Hmm.
Because if I don't have a huge portfolio of or work experience, so let's make it ourselves with with personal projects. Let's actually build stuff, things like that. So for like 2 years I made like one project like every 2 weeks,
Okay.
like random things, like a watch, or designing a watch, and then like making a I would also make the foam model, like with the pink or blue foam that product designers use. I forget the name for it, but
PU foam, they call it usually.
yeah, I think so. No, but there was a specific name for it, I forget.
Okay.
But so that, and then I also got an internship at this one like maker studio kind of thing, which had 3D printers. They had like woodworking machines.
Okay.
So I was able to work very hands on again, like like obviously the business school that I went to did not have a design studio or a workshop, right? So I was able to get an internship here, and I was making a lot of stuff. I was able to use the waste foam to make my prototypes and things like that, headphones and all kinds of stuff. I learned how to paint as in like like primer, then top coat, things like that, like not painting. I learned all of that over there. And and one of the things that I wanted to work on anyways was shoes, but I didn't want it to just be any sort of sort of shoe. I wanted it to stand out. And apart from that, around the same time I'd heard about the ban on plastic bags in India.
Okay.
So this was around 2018 maybe. I had heard about it, but then I hadn't been to India for like 2-3 years.
Okay.
And then I was back in India for like summer vacations, and I noticed that nobody's really enforcing the ban. Like they're available everywhere. I mean, to this day they are available everywhere. Like they found a loophole that it needs to be about 50 microns, but it's arbitrary. Like it makes no sense. So yeah, I thought this needs to change. And my mom, while we used to stay in India, she used to run a small waste management center for our housing complex, which was a big housing complex.
Oh, nice.
And that project became so successful that she was also like consulting with other societies and things like that. And I'd seen like the issue of plastic waste firsthand, just how prevalent it is. And like you can't really do anything about it. So I wanted to change this. And I'd also heard that nobody was really recycling plastic bags. People have been recycling plastic bottles for quite some time now. Like if you see certain waste pickers on the railway station, or just somewhere outside in the market, you'll always see them collecting plastic bottles.
Yeah, actually,
right?
Now that you are mentioning, I can recall.
Yeah.
Like plastic bags, nobody collects.
Yeah.
It's mostly plastic bottles, glass bottles, things like that.
Exactly. That's because there's a monetary value to waste plastic bottles, because there's a whole industry around recycling it. Plastic bags, even if you collect a bunch of them, there is nobody who will buy it. So there is no reason for you to even collect it. Right. So that is a serious issue. If things are not getting collected, that means they are ending up in oceans, or they're clogging our sewers and things like that. Or like you see like random cows eating plastic bags,
There have been
things
so many
like
incidences like that. Yeah.
So I wanted to change this. So I was at first I was just trying a bunch of different things to figure out ways to recycle this plastic bag. And I was just doing it at home, or at that that place where I had an internship at. And I thought, okay, let's try finding the right temperature at which I can melt the bags but not burn them, because they're very easy to burn, right?
So this all you were doing at your home only, or
at my home, at that sort of maker studio that I had an internship at. Both of these places, but mostly at home. Research was all at home, of course. And this is while I was doing college also.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was doing all of this, and I towards after a few months, I had this one little A4 size sheet of this material that I had made, and it had properties similar to leather, but it was of course made all out of plastic bags. It had a pretty nice like texture to it also, like almost leathery. Not as leathery as we have now. Like now we can emboss pretty much any texture. Like we've recently done crocodile leather, but anyways, so I thought, okay, here's a leather replacement, so let's make shoes out of it because that's what I know the best, right? But I obviously didn't have any shoe making equipment, right? Because it's a lot more complex. You can't just like stitch it together, right, with a regular sewing machine. So then I'd gone back to India around that time for again holidays, Diwali or something like that, and I just went to like a local shoe repair shop, and I asked him if he can make a shoe prototype out of this fabric, and he didn't understand it, but he was like, okay, fine, if you pay me, I'll do it. So then he actually made the first prototype for me, and I think it must have cost me like some like 1,000-2,000 rupees at the most. And then for a few months, and it was great, it was just one side of the shoe because I didn't make enough fabric for the other side. So
Okay, so it was just half.
it was just half a shoe, I mean half a pair.
Understood.
And then but it still had a lot of promise, so I took photos of it, put it in my portfolio, and then for a few months I did nothing with it.
Okay.
And then my college has this Shark Tank like competition every year, and it's like a mock pitch. All these business colleges these days, they have like a mock pitch because they want to prepare young entrepreneurs, and everybody wants to do a startup now, so they want to prepare you for pitching to investors, which is quite a daunting task. So this was a mock pitch, but if you win the competition, and you have to come with a serious idea, if you win the competition, the college will give you 1 year of office space in their incubation area, and they will sponsor your registration costs, company registration costs in Dubai. Which is quite a significant cost even now. Like before COVID, it was even more.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let's do this. And so I made a whole business plan around Thaely. I registered the domain because I was so convinced about it. And I was like, okay, let's go there as if I'm ready to launch this, right? Obviously, that one prototype was not ready for production, but it looks nothing like this. It looked quite basic. But I made a whole plan. I was very serious about it, and I ended up winning the competition because everybody else at the competition was like, "Oh, we'll make this app," and they had nothing ready. Like nobody took it seriously or serious enough, I would say. And yeah, because they were like, "Oh, we'll use machine learning and AI," and just like buzzwords, basically.
Buzzwords, trending topics.
Yeah. So it didn't really catch the judge's eyes. So I went there. I carried my prototype. I told my friend who was sitting in the audience, I told him that once I start pitching, you go and give this shoe and put it on the table.
Wow.
Okay. So he did that, and I had a great pitch, and I won the competition. And one of the judges at the competition, Matteo Boffa, he was very interested and he loved the idea, and he said, "Come meet me tomorrow and I will invest in your company." And that's how it started. Literally within a week of me pitching, it was a serious business, suddenly.
So this time you were still in college, right?
I was, last year
Of your college.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy, man. So there are so many things to address here. So in between, let's go one by one.
Yeah.
In between, you said that your mom was doing something related to recycling products and all. So tell me, before even entering into design or all these things, what was those childhood triggers? Like, were you always this person who wanted to build something? Did you always know that you were supposed to head into creative career?
I knew like since day one, I would say, because I've been like I was very into cars, and I wanted to be a car designer actually,
Oh,
car
really?
or a bike designer, and I would still love to do it someday. And I'm very passionate about cars, but I've been sketching them for like since I was very small,
Wow.
and then I was into watches for a while. I feel like before there was a word for smartwatches, I was designing little smartwatches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, like what?
Uh, just sketching out ideas. This watch can have an option for like music and calling and things like that.
Oh, nice.
And I would design like small like UI sort of like that. And yeah, so I always wanted to do something in design. And then around like 8th 9th standard, I got heavily into shoes. Like I just started loving shoes. This was around the time where like that whole sneaker culture was growing quite a bit, and I was listening to like a lot of hip hop and rap, and shoes are a big thing over there.
Yeah.
And this was around the time the Nike Air Easy 2 was coming out, which is like an iconic shoe. If if you're into shoes, you know about it.
Yeah.
And obviously at that time that culture in India was quite it was quite at a nascent stage. Right now you can buy any shoes that you want, but then it was like extremely difficult. And obviously I was in school, I didn't have money or whatever, and I can't convince my parents to buy like 15,000 rupee shoes, right? So I was like, to deal with the frustration, I would I would like sketch and things like that. And I actually told one of my friends that I'm going to be a CEO of a shoe brand.
Wow.
And
how old were
I
you?
was in 8th standard. And she called me like 2 years ago when I started Thaely, and she was like, do you remember talking about this? And I was like, yeah, I forgot, but the fact that you remember is crazy.
So you manifested it.
Yeah.
Crazy. So that is one beautiful trait. I think you were building things, you were creating things, and not only creating something which is out there at the moment,
Yeah.
but something very futuristic. So you were, playing around with your imagination and everything. So I think that is one of the biggest trait for a designer. So that is one thing. And just curious, like what do your parents do?
My father's in the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
So
That's why all the travel.
Yeah, that's why Dubai.
Mm.
And so he says he's retired, but he's not really retired. He's the managing director of like 3 companies right
Wow.
now. So he doesn't go to office every day. That is his idea of not retiring, but of being retired, but he's still working every day. My mom, she is a child and marriage counselor.
Okay.
And she's not practicing a lot these days, but she has her old clients that that she's still taking up. And apart from that, she does a lot of social work. Yeah.
Okay, I can clearly see the influences.
Yeah.
From your father. You got that, managing, and all the travel would have given you those
The
kind
exposure,
of exposures.
yeah.
And from mom's side, you had this sustainable sort of,
Yeah.
influence.
No, but both my parents have always sort of given importance to like sustainability and things like that. We had a solar heater like 20 years ago. Which
that time it was
that
not a
time it was
thing.
quite rare.
Yeah.
We had solar lights like around the same time.
Wow.
All of those, like, so it's that's been a conversation for since we were kids, like me and my sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting. So tell me something, like, you are very young, and till now you have achieved so many things. We'll go one by one into it, but tell me, if you have to like point out two three unique traits about you, like which has helped you to reach here. See, of course you'll be humble and you will say that there's nothing special, but there are very few people who think like you, right? So what are those things, like, if you can point out?
I see. I mean, I am going to be humble, but I'll say one is like being. I don't know if this is a quality, but this is just like luck, which is like being in the right place at the right time, which could be like taking every sort of opportunity that you get seriously and like really putting efforts towards it. Like there are like certain opportunities that sometimes people get and they're like, oh, this is like it's too far-fetched, or like it is too, it's not going to, and it's not going to lead to anything, and they don't do anything about it. So I think that is one good thing about me, that I have this thing where like, oh, you have to take all the shots that you get, right? So that is one. Next is, I do think I am fairly creative, so that is one. And three, I don't know. I think I have like good, like this sounds pretentious, but I think I have good taste when it comes to like, or like an eye for design, which it's like you either have it or you don't have it. I think,
Yeah. Actually, a good taste, no? It also builds through experience and exposures.
Yeah.
So I think, since childhood, if you are exposed to good quality products and
Yeah.
designs and,
Yeah.
sensual things, and I have always seen that, like, people from Italy usually,
Yeah.
they have a very mature sort of a taste,
Yeah.
with very sensual surfaces,
Yeah.
very modern, resolved things, and they give importance to that also. Whereas India, or if you go to underdeveloped countries,
Yeah.
like, like Vietnam and all, there
Yeah.
you can see that those people are still figuring out their survival. So
Yeah,
obviously they are surrounded
you
by.
you can't blame people for it. The
Exactly, you can't
goal
blame.
is to survive and to like, is to mass produce things. So like, I mean, honestly, now that we are entering the mass market, I've sort of learned the beauty of designing for,
Mass.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that is an art in itself. Like, like you had mentioned when we had spoken before, where previously you were working at Honda, right? And you were working with a lot of Japanese designers as well, right? So you were probably making things that are like, I mean, of course they are, like functional and all of that, but like cost is obviously a factor in bike design and
Yeah.
any design, but you're not going for the cheapest of the cheapest of the,
Yeah.
but to do that also takes a lot of creativity and a lot of skill, which is not easy to do at all. There's a lot of problem solving that is
Yeah.
needed.
I think Indians are blessed with this jugaad mentality, and
Yeah.
when it is combined with a good exposure and good taste of aesthetics,
Yeah.
I think that will be a kick-ass combination. I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah. I think like it's only about time that like there's like there's Finnish design and there's Italian design. Like I'm sure like there will be a point where like even now there's Japanese design, there's even like Chinese companies now have like a aesthetic, so you might not like it, but there is a
Yeah.
aesthetic to their cars or their products, and I'm sure like for Indian products also it will
Yeah.
get to that point.
You are right, and actually, I spoke about this very recently. That is just matter of time
Yeah.
that we are gonna have something like an Indian design,
Yeah.
and that is something I think this current generation of designers are gonna pave out. So I think that is gonna be something very exciting.
Yeah.
But amazing. So let's go back to the journey of Thaely. So
Yeah.
you already mentioned that how it all started. So from there, what has been the journey like, and where are you guys today?
So like back then, I mean let's go back to 2021.
Sure, sure.
July of 2021, that's when we actually launched.
Hmm.
and we started selling online and things like that. And we're still doing that. We launched with uh, 3 colors. Now our total SKUs are at 14, plus we have about 33 SKUs in the vault, which we'll
Wow.
drop over the next year or so. Plus we are working on a few more sort of SKUs for the Indian market that are going to come out soon. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening. Like even the product itself has, evolved quite a bit, and it's become a lot more refined. If you see our production video on YouTube, or the one that was covered by Business Insider, the production process was quite primitive, I would say, and it wasn't very efficient. Wasn't very scalable at that point. But since then, it's the scale that we are now producing at is massive. And like even the fabric itself, like I started with one color, white, and I couldn't do much of a texture on it. The texture was what came naturally.
Okay.
But now I can make it in pretty much any color. I can make it in any texture. Like last year, we launched a shoe which is called the crocodile gray, which is
Yeah.
this shoe, but a more sort of premium version of it. And that the Thaely-Tex that we use for it has like crocodile leather texture,
Wow.
which is quite impressive, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so we've when it comes to the product and design, we've made massive improvements, and
Amazing. So I can see the Thaely shoe over there.
yeah,
Can you just speak about the product,
Sure.
which is the main
So-
discussion point here?
so this is our classic shoe. It's the Y2K Pro, and this is our best selling color. It's the cloud white. And the cool thing about these shoes are that they're entirely recycled. Okay, so everything from the sole, which is recycled rubber, to this canvas, which is recycled plastic bottles, to this leather like fabric, it's made from waste plastic bags. This is the material that we make in house. It's called Thaely-Tex. And everything down to the shoelaces, they're also made from recycled plastic bottles. Even the insole is recycled. We've thought of every little thing. So the insole is made from castor bean oil waste.
Wow.
So yeah, the entire shoe is recycled, and it's designed to be as sustainable as possible. So it's good for the planet. It's good for your feet, and yeah. And even the packaging, the box is also quite interesting. It's made from recycled paper, and it's got basil seeds embedded in the box, so you can actually plant the box after you get the shoe.
Oh, nice. What kind of plant seeds are there?
This has basil.
Okay, basil.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, for some other products that we're going to do marigold and a few other seeds also.
Nice.
And it's dyed with waste coffee grounds. So it
Wow.
originally is white, and white gets dirty and all of that. So we dyed it with waste coffee grounds from this one company in Agra, which is a coffee company, and they get boxes made from my supplier. So they just use their waste coffee grounds for the color.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. You can just keep this one also there.
Oh,
Okay.
and before we're done, we're also 100% vegan. We're PETA approved vegan, and we're also B Corp certified, which is like the best certificate you can get for sustainable companies, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So I'm very curious now that you're talking about sustainability, and I saw few shoes from other big manufacturers. Like I remember Nike and Adidas also had some sort of sustainable material shoes.
Yeah.
So do you feel some competition over there? or you feel that Thaely is very different from all those companies?
No, I mean, it is we're targeting a similar audience. It's people who care about sustainability and sustainable products. But if you, so I recently went to the Nike store in Mumbai,
Okay.
and I saw the recycled shoe that they have for the first time in real life. And if you read the disclaimer on it, on the tongue, it says up to 30% recycled materials.
So Thaely is 100%
Yeah, so
recycled.
all the fabrics that we use are 100% recycled.
Okay.
Certain components unfortunately can't be made from completely recycled elements. So there are some additives, but we've actually done a lot of developments when it comes to that also. Like, for example, this shoe, it's got metal eyelets, which is like the
Okay.
the thing around the laces, which is not recycled or sustainable. It's just metal. It can be recycled, however. But for some upcoming shoes that we have, the eyelets for the same model, the eyelets that we're using are made from recycled plastic as well. So like,
Okay.
slowly as the years go by, as technology progresses, and as new materials come up, we are making small additions to this particular shoe so that it is even more sustainable. Like, for example, when we first started, the insole was not recycled. It could be recycled, but it wasn't already recycled.
Understood.
Because that did not exist back then. So about 1 year or 1.5 years later, for my for one of our like other batches, we used a recycled insole.
Okay, interesting. Now that we understood the product, we understood the company status and everything.
Yeah.
Now I have a very curious question, and probably from the perspective of students. So let's say there is a student in college,
Yeah.
and he has some amazing design, and let's say if he or she wants to make that design convert it into a company like Thaely, what you did. So what will be a step-by-step roadmap for them?
See, I think first would be you need to flesh out your idea.
Okay.
If you just have an idea, then make a prototype. Okay. After you make a prototype, you need to make a business plan. Because even if it is a great design, but if it does not work pricing wise, or it does not make business sense, then there's no point, right? Let's say you have a friend who loves the idea, but he's more attuned to business side of things. Then you can team up with him or her and start this. Or there's like plenty of resources online, and I didn't even have ChatGPT. Now even my dad does this. Every month, at the end of the month, we make a report, right? MIS report.
What is MIS report?
It's like in simple words, it's like a report you make. Basically, it gives you like your basic facts, like this is how many sales we did, this is how much we spent on marketing, this is how much cash we have in the bank, this was our salaries, things like that.
Got it.
So every business makes it at the end of every month. And you can now put it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can give you feedback on how to improve your business.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And where you should spend more money, less money. Obviously, you have to use your own discretion, but you can, if you don't know anything about business, you can do that also.
Okay.
And proper businesses like my dad's business, they also do this.
Okay. So step one, you said that flesh out your design.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop at your sketch, but
Make
make
a
a prototype. Second step could be teach yourself a little bit about business.
Or get a
co-founder. Okay. What would be the next step?
So next step is you have to make your pitch. Okay. And you have to make your pitch a few ways. One is you have to make your pitch which is like 30 minutes long. Okay. Like, let's say some investor, he is giving you time, or you have to explain it to one of your teachers or your parents or your friends. they will give you 30 minutes, right, to discuss your idea, or for you to present your idea. So you make a 30-minute version, then you make a 10-minute version, which is like,
Got it.
okay, if there's some investor who might invest in you, but he only has 10 minutes. And then you make a elevator pitch. Okay, basically
Okay.
it is like however long it takes from you to go from ground floor to that person's office, so that you can explain the idea to them in those 2 minutes. So
Got
you
it.
do that. Okay.
Okay.
You get that ready, you get a proper deck ready, like a presentation, or you make a website. Then you can now, as a student, you obviously will have no money. Step 4 is that there's a lot of grants, startup grants. There's a lot of startup pitch competition similar to the one that I went to, and so you can apply to them. I can't tell you exactly where you can hear about them. There's no like one place where all of this is consolidated. Once you can just search it up on the internet, and the algorithm will understand that you're looking for this, and you'll keep getting it in your recommendation. Even if maybe, let's say, you don't get the grant, or you don't actually get investment or whatever it is, but you will get into that startup network of investors, and maybe you'll understand what's wrong with your business idea. Maybe you'll understand that this idea is not good at all and I need to do something else. So I think do that, because for me also, the first year, when I actually did this, I did the pitch competition. After that, it's not like I got the money next day. It took some time. Until then, I went to all these pitch competitions and all of that, and then COVID also happened. So for 1 year I was doing that only, getting, basically validating my idea. And good thing was my first investor, Matteo Boffa, he was heavily involved in this sort of startup pitching and sort of this kind of stuff. So he had all the connects. So thankfully I didn't have to look for it a lot, but you can just search it up online.
I think what you said is very beautiful, that you need to be in that circle. I think once you get, like, this happens in design also.
Yeah.
Like if you are in a company of designers, successful designers, you will get to know things which you would have never known.
Yeah.
And then you will end up building network. Then you will understand what's right, what's wrong with your own thing. So
Yeah.
I think, and having a right mentor, obviously it helps, I guess.
But
So
yeah,
in your case, it's
I
Matthew,
had
guess.
Matteo is still my mentor, of course. We speak every week.
Okay.
Still, he's not involved in the day-to-day workings of the business, but he's still very heavily involved. Whenever I need to speak to him, he's ready to hear me out, and all of that.
I think those things covers most of the roadmap steps, right?
Yeah, I think that's all. Then you
Yeah.
raise investment and you start things.
Yeah,
So,
I think then the things will naturally
yeah,
follow.
I would see. And also another thing about business is like, most designers, even me, even though I went to business school also, it can't be taught. You have to learn it on
Yeah.
the job. You have to gain experience, things like that. You will make a lot of mistakes. So, which is why you should raise investment, so that it's not your own money.
Yeah, that is also true, no? That otherwise, if it's your own money, you will be always
You're
worried.
screwed. Yeah.
Your creative will be.
No, but I mean, that's how business has been done for
Yeah.
thousands of years. So if you're able to do that, very good. But like, what students have like a few lakhs laying
Yeah.
around, and it's impossible to start a business without a few lakhs these days. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to create something big, I think you need to
Yeah,
have substantial
you-
amount of capital.
I mean, some money to start with, at least. That you should be okay with losing, because most probably it will not work out. Your first business will not work out. I'm fortunate that it's been 3 years and it's still, I wouldn't say that I'm like, I don't know, like, very successful or whatever, but I'm like, the fact that this is still together and this is still happening is surprising to me.
It's a good validation also, no? Like
Yeah, that it's been around for 3-4 years now. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So now I'm very curious that you spoke about all these things. You're just 26-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So do you face any challenge because of your age? Like, I hear from young entrepreneurs that the biggest challenge is that people don't take them seriously sometimes, or sometimes they'll have to, manage people who are like way more senior than them.
Yeah.
Do you face like any challenges because of the age?
At least in the startup world, like like this age, 26, 23, even 21 is not, these days it is not unheard of.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look at these Zepto founders, they're what, 21, 23, right? So it's not unheard of in tech. When it comes to manufacturing and like a actual D2C brand, it is a little different. So it is a little difficult to sort of not to be taken seriously, but to sort of gain that trust from your vendors, where credit is very important. So getting credit, all that at if you're not 30 or 40 or whatever, where you have experience and you have the connects and all of that, it's a little difficult. But I would say the biggest issue with my age has been the lack of experience and the fact that I've not had a job ever, because I started this from college. So I've never, apart from a few internships I've done, I've never had a job. I've not had a business, obviously. So yeah, that was the only issue.
Okay. So let's lighten the mood of this podcast. And I have a few rapid fire questions. Okay. Like very quickly, you can just answer them in 1 or 2 sentences. Up to you. But it has to be quick and instant replies. Okay. So the first one is, who are your inspiration when it comes to design?
Okay, I'll give 5.
5, okay. Perfect.
Because it's impossible for me to choose one. Okay, so first one is Dieter Rams. He's the sort of godfather of design, and one of his 10 design principles, one of them is that your product should be good for the environment. Which I follow. Apart from that, second is Philippe Stark. He's a product designer. His stuff, I would say, is less functional, more artistic, but it's I still like it. Then Mark Newson, he has done a bunch of stuff, but he's probably best known for contributing towards the Apple Watch. Apart from that, if you look at his more sort of non-commercial stuff, it's quite interesting as well. So that's 4, right? No, 3. 3. Then fourth would be Peter Yee. He's best known for designing some of the most iconic Oakley products.
All right.
So he's made some, they've become very popular now after like 10, 15, not even 10, 15 years, 20 years after, they were launched. They look like they are from the future still.
Wow.
Okay, so he's made some of the most iconic sunglasses, watches, accessories, things like that. And he's sort of given Oakley the design language that it has. 5, okay, because you're a car designer and automobile designer, and also I'm also heavily into cars, I'll say Gandini, because even though I don't make anything that he does, but a lot of these like brutalist sort of shapes that he does are quite inspirational for me, honestly.
For sure. I think those 5 are like brilliant inspirations. And actually, agar koi student ye sun raha hoga, I think they can just Google.
There's there's a lot of information about all of these people. There's probably like hour-long video essays that you can watch about them.
Okay. Second question: if you have to choose one, design or business?
Design, of course.
Okay.
Business is something I have to do.
Design is you're doing by choice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Your favorite shoe?
I mean, I will not choose I will not choose my own shoes, but I'll say the shoe that started it for me is the Nike Air Force One.
Air Force, okay.
It was like the first cool shoe that I bought. And it's talking about Gandini, it's almost like this shoe is like the Countach of the shoe world. It's not practical, it's not comfortable, but it looks cool
It's-
and it has a presence. It's
Yeah.
best. It looks best in white, and it's iconic. So I would say the Air Force One.
Actually, just to add one more point, be it automobile designer, watch designers, or shoe designer,
Yeah.
I have seen their likings or influences. No, they
Are
are all
sort of similar,
sort of
yeah.
similar. Because I am also quite interested into shoes, watches,
Yeah,
and automobiles, of course. And you are also telling me the similar things.
Yeah.
So
I mean, those are the things that we as like kids see in everyday life.
yeah,
So that is the first things you start designing. Obviously, you don't design some like obscure machinery part,
true.
as a kid,
Yeah.
or nobody's passionate about. I mean, some people are, but
Yeah. But they need. I think these products have a very high amount of emotional, aspirational value.
yeah, exactly.
So amazing. Okay, if you have to choose one city, New York, Dubai, Mumbai, or Pune?
New York,
New York.
yeah.
Okay. Reason being, just one reason.
There's nothing like it, honestly. Yeah.
Okay. The next question. Your best memory from college?
Best memory. Okay, so I was once. It was during my lunchtime, and I was in my cafeteria, and our cafeteria used to always be very full. Okay, so people like, and there used to be a round table, so people would just randomly sit together. Right, it's not a restaurant, so you have to share.
Yeah.
And then this one old man sat on my table with another old person, and I was like, I've seen this guy somewhere, and it was Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh, really?
And then we just had a conversation. He was very
Wow.
nice. I took a photo with him. It was great. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So next question. Which industry, if not shoes? I think we already covered.
Probably cars, bikes, or watches. I don't know. Either
Okay.
one of those. Yeah.
Okay. Next, your dream brand ambassador for your Thaely shoe.
That's impossible for me to
If
answer.
you have to just choose one, like if you have to manifest like one celebrity to put next to your Thaely shoe.
I would have loved to say Kanye,
Kanye.
but now I can't. It's
After this Grammy,
no, after just everything he's done in the last 3 years, I can't say it. Unfortunately, I
yeah,
can't.
I don't know what has happened to him, but yeah,
Yeah,
this Grammy
it's
was another.
unfortunate. Yeah.
Okay. So next, one mistake as a designer which you regret.
I think designing for myself,
What do you mean by that?
like designing. So like this product, obviously, I designed for like I wouldn't say mass market, but for it to have a wider appeal. But there have been certain designs that I've made for Thaely, of course, that I've designed for myself.
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is what I like. I'll make it. Doesn't matter if it sells or not.
Okay.
And I mean, in theory, that is what you're told. No, be yourself. Do
Yeah.
whatever. No,
So
don't do that mistake.
put customer first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The last question. What's your favorite pastime activity?
At the moment, it's like playing video games. Honestly, I love my PS5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question. We are done with rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question, that if you want to give any concluding advice to a young design entrepreneur, okay, what would that be?
I'll say our motto, which
Which is
it's don't just do it right.
oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Don't just do it right. Okay, perfect. So on that very powerful note, Ashay, thank you so much for being here. This was such a wonderful conversation. I was worried what we will talk about, what will be the vibe of this conversation, but you have made it very easy. It was such a friendly, casual, candid sort of a conversation. Thank you so much for being you.
Thank you.
All the best for your big, future endeavors of Thaely and other things, whatever you're doing. But it was a pleasure having
Thank you.
you here.
Thank you for having me.